Year 7 of the startup grind. Beside Shane, Vance Tech finally rang the IPO bell. The very next morning he couldn't wait to Instagram his curvy new flame, Avery. That night, over shots with the frat brothers he cracked, "When you're broke you settle. Skylar was my settle. Now that I'm loaded I marry the woman I actually want." The booze kept flowing. Drunk out of his mind, he dragged Avery back to the Vance estate we still shared, ready to drop the axe. He'd pictured me screaming, hurling vases, maybe begging. Instead he found me curled, blushing inside Lifelong's arms. "You're the moon I've wanted all these years. Now that Van site is public and I'm rich, I'm kicking that washed up to the curb for you." Before we go any further, smash subscribe and tell us where you're listening. When the liquor flush on Shane's cheeks drained in a heartbeat, leaving him chalk white, he jerked his hand off Avery's arm and stabbed a shaking finger at me. "Skylar, who is he? Why are you wrapped around him?" My head was still nestled in Lifelong's chest, too comfy to move. Annoyed at the interruption, I answered coolly, "Shane, the company's public now, which means I'm rich too. When you're poor you settle. Being with you is my settle. From here on I sleep with the man I actually love." I've always had bigger guts than Shane. He needed liquid courage to speak his truth at a bar. I say mine anytime, anywhere. Shane's face shifted from white to green. A foul lump of anger ballooned in his chest, heaving it up and down. "The ink's barely dry on the IPO, and you're already parading a guy through our house. Have you forgotten I'm still your boyfriend?" Before walking through the door, he'd rehearsed dumping me, tossing me a few grand for wasted youth, and bracing for a night of tears and clingy texts. Halfway here he'd even brainstormed a dozen ways to peel me off like old tape. He never saw the twist coming. I'd stolen his exit, and I hadn't saved him a seat. 2 rain buckets from the sky drummed the roof, rattling the panic inside him. Avery threaded her arm through his. "Sugar sweet Shane. Skylar's just acting out to make you jealous. Don't be mad." "Okay." Shane suddenly remembered why he'd come. His features relaxed into smug calm. He dropped onto the couch, legs crossed, eyes slits of contempt. "Skylar, jealousy only works if love's still in the room. After 7 years I'm sick of your face. Parade 100 guys. I won't twitch. I built Vance Tech for Avery. Now it's public, so let's call it a respectful goodbye. 7 years ago we'd named the startup Vance Tech. Back then I'd asked, 'What's the Vance part mean?' He'd grinned, slinging an arm around me. 'Peaceful sailing. May we stay afloat forever.' Turns out the syllable was code for his own one that got away. Avery had starred in his college daydreams, but his wallet couldn't court her then. Once Vance Tech's valuations ballooned, he finally slid into her DMs. She dumped her boyfriend that same night and batted a mascara. Yes. Shane drank in my pale face. Victorious. Sleazy. Sure, but the Vance in Vance Tech? That's Avery. The IPO is her gift. Avery sniffed back grateful tears and nestled against him, shooting me a smug side-eye that glittered with malice. Shane expected me to explode. Instead I turned to Chase, my lifelong crush, eyes shining wet, voice fluttering. "Chase, do you like the name Vance Tech? 3 Chases, my lifelong and my secret one that got away. We're all human. Everyone hoards at least one that got away. Given enough years, my collection could fill this 3-story mansion." Back when I was broke and timid, I drooled over tall, gorgeous Chase from afar. A gutter rat peeking at a star. But never mock a broke girl. Rivers flow east for 30 years, then west for the next 30. Now my bank account's fat and so is my courage. His looks, my cash, perfect billboards for power couple goals. So I tucked his name into the company title. A gift to make a handsome man smile. Problem? Shane gaped like I'd spoken in tongues. The name Lifelong rattled around his skull until it cracked something loose. He slammed the coffee table. "Skylar, when we registered Vance Tech, you said the Chase stood for phenomenal growth. Remember?" I dug a pinky in my ear. "Bored," I said. "Whatever shuts you up. Stop hallucinating ulterior motives." Shane laughed. Sharp, hollow, dangerous. A moment later he looked almost relieved. "I was going to pay you off for those 7 years. Decent money for old time's sake. Now not a cent. I rented this place. Grab your boy toy and get out." Avery's greedy gaze swept the marble foyer, the crystal chandelier. She cooed. Sis, without Shane you'd never afford digs this swank. Scoot before your suitcases fly out the door after you. I frowned. Why should I leave? Why don't you? Shane's smile turned lazy. 3-year lease, every rent check from my account. Pack up, cheater. I raised the scarlet deed, my name in bold. Thanks for the punctual rent. But the owner? Me. The startup grind with Shane had gone surprisingly smooth. 3 years back we banked our first serious payout. Shane wanted to buy a house in his name only, a personal asset ahead of marriage. I talked him out of it. Prices are shaky. Rent a mansion first. After the IPO you can shop the country. Take your pick. Then he listened. He scouted. He compared. He chose this place. While he bragged to brokers, I quietly bought it, then invoiced him. Every month, rent jacked up 200%. Shane lunged for the deed, squinted, rubbed his eyes, and read the name again. He roared across the living room. No wonder rent spiked. And you sweet-talked me into staying. We've made memories here. 3 years of rent went straight into your purse. I beamed. Double market rate for 3 straight years. And he'd paid like clockwork. Satisfaction doesn't come cheaper. I wiggled my fingers. Goodbye. The housekeeper bagged your stuff. Porch left pile. Don't forget it on your way out. As landlord, I'm terminating the lease. Wouldn't want Chase to get the wrong idea. Chase slipped an arm around my waist and steered me toward the staircase. Over his shoulder he tossed, "Ex-boyfriend dude, take the trash with you. There's a bin by the gate." Bang. The front door rattled in its frame as they fled into the downpour. That night, Shane rang me dozens of times. I declined every call. WhatsApp vomited walls of whiny prose. I blocked him and deleted his number. The night stretched on endlessly. I planned to enjoy a gorgeous guy. No time to spare for that washed-up ex. Besides, we'd never filed a marriage license. Who I date is my own damn business. Early the next morning, I drove to Vance Tech. Trailing behind me was Chase. Employees eyed us with hungry curiosity, whispering behind their hands. I tuned them out and strode straight to the top-floor boardroom. Every shareholder and investor was already seated. Shane, probably chilled from last night's rain, sat at the head of the table sneezing, yet managed to look arrogant the instant I walked in. He gave a cold snort, then spoke as if granting a favor. Skylar Avery suffered a lot while I was gone. I've always wanted to repay her. So effective today, she officially joins the company HR department. The chair that used to be mine was now occupied by Avery in white. Avery rose with fake shyness. Sis, Skylar Sterling just felt sorry for me. That's why he put me in HR. But after reviewing your daily workload, I realized you're no longer fit to be Vansite's CEO. You're fired. Of course, the severance will be generous enough to keep you in instant noodles till you're gray. She giggled behind her hand, eyes curved in delight. Shane lifted his chin. Skylar, go pack up. Vance Tech has no place for you. Every investor and shareholder lowered their heads. Not one uttered a word. Expressionless, I stepped up to Avery, grabbed a fistful of her hair, and dragged her aside. Over her shrieks, I said calmly, "Sterling, we built this company together. You think you can fire me just like that?" He'd clearly expected the question. Smug, he answered. "When we founded Advanced Tech, I held 35%. You only 20? Why wouldn't I have the right?" Avery scrambled to stand behind him. "Sis, Skylar, the company answers to Sterling. Leave quietly or security will toss you out, and your reputation with it." I settled into my old seat, unhurriedly pulled out the cap table printout and smiled. "Sorry, another shareholder transferred his stake to me. I now own 35% too." The double blow drained the color from Shane's face. He snatched the sheet, scrutinized every line, then jabbed a finger at our baldest major shareholder. "Why the hell did you give her your shares?" The man scratched his shiny scalp. "My niece asked. I gave. Why needs a reason? Yes, most people in this room are relatives of mine by blood or marriage. 7 years since inception. Every key post is held by my people. As for Shane, he's been hoisted high and hollowed out, a figurehead with no handles left." While he fumed speechless, I spoke again. "Sterling chases my lifelong. When we were 5, I accidentally made him fall from a tree. The scare in his leg still keeps me up at night. To ease my guilt, I'm appointing him head of Vance's finance department. Shane exploded. What? Finance? You'd hand a critical seat to an outsider. I frowned. He's no outsider. I've known Chase since I was 3. If anyone here's a stranger, it's you. Chase beamed, shouldered Shane aside, and plopped into the chairman's chair. He seized my hand. All devotion, Skylar. Trust me, I'll exceed every expectation. On the way in, I tallied the workload you and Shane carry. First thing, I'm revising the compensation grid. Your salary, $10 million a month. As for Sterling, he glanced at Shane's livid face, we'll start him at $1 monthly. Performance raises are possible. Percentage-based, of course. 8. No percentage raise on $1 ever cracks $10. Shane's hand shook with rage as he pointed at my calm face. Skylar, when did you turn this vicious? In his script, the cornered sobbing loser was supposed to be me. He reserved the right to be cruel, to watch 7 years of my work evaporate, to see me chased out like a mongrel, and he absolutely forbade me to fight back. What he wanted was my silent tears, zero resistance, a graceful exit stage left, and naturally a lifelong torch for him, so every man I met thereafter would pale in comparison, leaving me forever contrite. Seeing no route to victory, Shane slammed the table, grabbed Avery's hand, and on his way out hurled over his shoulder, Skylar, you just wait. He hadn't cleared the doorway when Chase sidled up, pretending pitiful sweetness. Skylar, did I make Shane jealous? You only hired me because I'm broke. Maybe I should explain things to him. If it calms him down, a little hurt on my part is nothing. His honeyed mouth might as well have been dipped in toxin. I stroked his hand, satisfied. That washed-up has no right to make you suffer. You're my lifelong friend of 20+ years. He's the one chewing imaginary sour grapes. If we'd ever wanted something to happen, it would have long ago. No throne left for him to use. Shane staggered mid-stride, almost face-planting. Even at that distance, I could feel his volcanic fury. I thought he'd lie low for a while. A week later, though, a subpoena arrived plus a text. Skylar, don't assume Vance Tech is yours for the taking. I clawed my way here. You think I have no moves left? He was suing me in Riverdale court for embezzlement. In the hushed, paneled courtroom, Shane stood at the plaintiff's table, triumphant. Beside him, his high-priced counsel calmly listed my crimes. The defendant abused her position to install relatives in key posts and maliciously slashed the plaintiff's salary. We therefore seek her removal from Vance Tech and $1 million in damages. Stack after stack of evidence went to the bench. Damages itemized down to the cent, including the Vance estate, which I'd bought, now claimed as misappropriated company funds. They demanded full accounting. Shane draped an arm around Avery, grinning ear to ear. Skylar, if you'd played the trophy, I'd have tossed you a fat severance when I married Avery. But you insisted on war. Don't blame me for the fallout. Once your clan is purged from Vance Tech and your millions in debt, coming to beg will be too late. Avery, already tasting her crown as Sterling, sneered. Sis Skylar, no wonder Shane dumped you. A woman's job is to be a shiny trophy. Money-crazed shrews like you. Men can't stand them. If I'm strong, they'll strip me bare by force. If I'm weak, they'll strip me bare with smiles. Same difference between the two. I choose strength and gamble everything on myself. From the defendant's table, my counsel whispered, brow pinched. Vance. If they audit our hiring process, it won't look good. Slipping that many relatives into critical roles guaranteed gaps and paper trails. Shane's move isn't just to approve my people. He wants me out and buried under damages. My lawyer requested a recess. Shane, holding Avery's hand, sauntered over, smirking. Skylar, didn't I tell you? You're no match for me. You could have walked away rich. After the verdict, the debt you carry won't be paid off in 3 lifetimes. His face radiated certain victory. He even pulled Avery in for a Hollywood-style kiss and whispered the one that got away promise. Sweetheart, the minute the gavel drops, I'll throw Riverdale's biggest wedding. I'll make you the bride every woman in this city envies. Avery bobbed her head like a broken metronome, already picturing herself gliding down the aisle in a $1 million designer gown, while every eye in the ballroom stabbed itself with jealousy. Their PDA was nauseating. Inside the mediation room, I brushed Chase's bangs aside. You said you felt lightheaded. Better now. He smiled slow and sure. All better. With Skylar here, even a fever would cure itself. Shane's face darkened. Skylar, wake up. You're about to be buried under 8-figure damages and you're staging a makeout session. You think a continuance wipes the debt clean. I tuned him out and pressed my palm to Chase's forehead. Cool. No fever. Only then did I turn to Shane. Oh, did you imagine? I asked for the recess to dodge discovery. A playful curve hooked my lips. I asked because Lifelong said he felt queasy. Nothing more. I looked at Chase, every ounce of tenderness on display. Nothing matters more than my Lifelong. Under Shane's molten glare, I folded myself into Chase's arms. Shane forgot to keep playing house with Avery and hopped in place, yelling, Skylar, let's see how long you can smirk. I'll smirk as long as he used to, exactly the way he once did. A brick-fixed stack of exhibits was already waiting for the judge. Color drained from Shane's cheeks. My counsel pushed black frame glasses up the bridge of his nose and spoke without hurry. The plaintiff's tale of nepotistic hiring is fiction. We have complete security footage proving every band tech hire and funding round followed protocol. As for Skylar's mansion, she paid for it with her dividend payouts and bridge loans from relatives. Full chain of title is here. Regarding Shane's claim of malicious pay cuts, he cued a 4-hour montage of office cams and time-stamped keystrokes. Sterling clocks less than 60 minutes a day at Van Siction that Sear made the adjustment mandatory. His contribution is literally worth $1. Beside me, Chase snorted. He tilted his chin, asking for credit. Skylar, see how fair my compensation grid is? Built strictly on workload. No favoritism. I laced my fingers through his and rewarded him with a proud glance. My Lifelong's the smartest. To keep Shane from biting back, every plant we'd slipped into payroll came with a stainless steel paper trail. The cameras caught nothing. Even if Shane suspected I'd spoon-fed interview questions, he couldn't prove it. From the defendant's table, I was practically in Chase's lap, eyelashes fluttering in private Morse. Unable to stomach it, Shane jabbed a finger at me. Skylar, you shameless cheat. I'll sue you for adultery. I blinked innocent. Shane, setting aside that you and Avery have been a thing for ages, need I remind you we never actually got married? His face blanched. Lips twitched. Nothing came out. No marriage. No adultery. Back in the garage startup grind, I'd asked Shane to elope. At first, he cradled my hands and said, Skylar, I haven't made it big yet. Give me time. When the money lands, Riverdale will host the most spectacular wedding, and I'll carry you through the door in style. No shortcuts. Revenue ramped. We cashed dividend payout after dividend payout. When I brought up marriage again, wallet-fat Shane switched tracks. Irritated, he snapped, Skylar, the company is swamped. I open my eyes to chaos every morning. Can you quit nagging me about a piece of paper? We've lived together for years. How is that different? Why scream for a worthless certificate? The moment cash trickled in, his script flipped. That day, I knew the license would never arrive. Shane's lawyer accepted our mountain of binders. 3 pages in, the triumph in his eyes flatlined. Every hire bulletproof, not a crack to wedge open. My own payouts had been funneled into investments that out-earned Shane tenfold. The counsel exhaled, whispered. Shane's complexion turned chalk. Finally, he withdrew his suit, but his case was over. Mine was just warming up. My attorney dipped into a burlap tote, wiped sweat, and hoisted fresh folders. Skylar hereby charges Shane with embezzlement. Corporate funds diverted to purchase real estate and luxury goods for Avery. We moved to freeze his assets pending a full forensic audit. Attached line item transfers and 3 years' worth of receipts, plus photos documenting Shane and Avery's hotel acrobatics. The courtroom fell into a pocket of hush. Shane stared at the glossy 8x10s, then jerked toward me. You knew about me and Avery all along. I dipped my chin. The night he brushed off my final marriage pitch, he never came home. I traced the Tesla's parking records to a VIP lounge hazed with cigar smoke. Shane sat center stage, wallet open. Avery curled on his knee. The frat brothers circled like well-fed coyotes. President Sterling, new face, introduce us. Yeah, boss. You're guarding her like she outranked Skylar. Future Mrs. CEO, right? They riffed, reading his grin like a stock ticker. Avery twisted her fingers. I'm not comparing myself to Skylar. Don't get the wrong idea. Shane yanked her closer. Sweetheart, after everything you still doubt me. I grind every day just so I can stand beside you and give you the life you deserve. If I really wanted Skylar, I would have married her years ago. Why wait? Outside the glass, I felt my nails slice crescents into my palms. Cheers erupted inside. Kiss, kiss, kiss while backslaps echoed. Now that Sterling is loaded, Lane is obviously the better fit. Power guys don't need alpha wives. Trophy types are smoother. Skylar doesn't look like the stay-at-home sort. When Shane and I had still been in the startup grind, everyone envied him for snagging a co-founder who could code, pitch, and close. We hadn't even reached IPO. The company was merely profitable, and I had already become the woman who couldn't settle. From that night on, I never mentioned marriage again. Shane dodged the topic like a quarterly write-off. We operated like Coco, not partners. Simultaneously, I quietly harvested receipts of every Shane Avery sleepover. A few days earlier, he'd sworn he was pulling an all-nighter at the office. It was Avery's birthday. Shane and the frat brothers threw her a rooftop bash at Riverdale's highest tower. Everyone attended except me. Even their IG stories blocked me. Half-drunk Shane slurred. When you're poor you settle. Skylar was my settle. Sweetheart is my forever. Under the confetti cannon, Avery clasped her hands, wishing, I want to stay by Sterling G's side and be his little princess forever. He cued the 5-carat rock from his pocket and knelt. Sweetheart, marry me. Tears shimmered in Avery's eyes. She threw herself into Shane's arms with a happy little gasp. I stood outside the restaurant again and again, like a stray dog tossed aside, spying on someone else's happiness from the shadows. But I knew this was the last time. I'd stayed in hiding too long. It was time to step out of the darkness and seize everything that belonged to me. Shane was caught completely off guard. Wire after wire of unexplained spending crushed him. Even the lawyer at his side had nothing to say. Finally, the man sighed and admitted there was nothing he could do. Shane had thought the company was his private cash box. Money in, money out, none of my business. But the company had never been his alone. While he was out dating Avery, I quietly nodded away at the books, line by line. Every asset in Shane's name was now frozen. When he walked out of Riverdale Court, his legs were rubber. He grabbed my arm and tried the feelings card. Skylar, after all these years, you can't be this heartless. Tell you what, drop the suit and I'll even consider marrying you. How tedious. When we talked love, he talked money. When we talked money, he suddenly wanted love. Was he still some hot commodity I should beg to marry? I slid into Chase's arms and smiled up at him loud enough for Shane to hear. Shane, you're a washed-up husband about to go broke. Why on earth would I marry you? I'm rich now. If I ever marry, it'll be someone I actually want. I've had a crush on Chase for years. If there's a wedding, he's the groom. Shane's knees buckled and he almost hit the pavement. He lunged to catch my sleeve. I sidestepped and he grabbed air. I laughed light and free. Sterling, figure out how to plug that hole you drilled. Remember, every embezzled dollar you blew was spent on Avery. Good luck getting it back. The court auditors moved fast. Soon, every misdirected cent surfaced, biggest line item first. The dance estate he bought and put in Avery's name to win her smile. I strolled up the driveway just as the two of them were screaming at each other. Avery was hysterical. Why should we sell this place? You gifted it to me. It's mine. Shane looked 10 years older after only a few days. Even his one that got away didn't rate patience anymore. If I can't replace the money, I go to prison. Skylar's closing in. What choice do I have? He softened, painting rainbows. And then, don't you trust my track record? I just slept on Skylar's banana peel. Once I square the books, I'll be back on top. Everything I earn after that is yours. Avery waited, the still soaring valuation of Vance Tech, Shane's old magic. A quick mental tug of war and she nodded. Shane turned and spotted me enjoying the show. He snorted. Skylar, don't think you've won. I got sloppy. That's the only reason you got in. I climbed back once. I'll do it again. I laced my fingers through Chase's and answered. Calm as cream. Really? You've just been voted out by every shareholder. How exactly will you stage this comeback? Shane looked smug. I refuse to believe every single investor is your cousin. He was right. I didn't control 100% of Vance Tech, roughly 15% still sat in outside hands. Shane strode back into the building. No longer CEO, just a man stripped of power. He'd already unloaded every share he owned to stop the bleeding. Now he courted Director Wei, who held 10%. Wei agreed to meet over the phone, all smiles. Shane cooled his heels in the boardroom for an hour. The door finally opened to a fashion plate in stilettos and scarlet lipstick. Shane blinked. Who are you? Where's Director Wei? The girl rolled her eyes. My husband's turning 30 today. We were about to leave for Bali when you buzzed. Spit it out. Wei and I have better things to do. Shane swallowed. I want Wei to appoint me back to the company. No. Once I'm in charge again, I'll guarantee him fatter dividend payouts. No. I'll sign anything right now. Written guarantee. Still no. Why do you keep saying no to everything? Because my cousin told me to. Whatever you ask, the answer's no. Who's your cousin? Skylar. Security dragged Shane out by the elbows. His fingerprints had already been wiped. The elevator wouldn't even light up for him anymore. Crossing the atrium, he spotted me. Maybe it finally hit him that Vance Tech was no longer his world. Terror and fury fought for his face. He shouted, Skylar, you can't do this to me. We'd been together 7 years. I dabbed at dry eyes and tugged Chase forward. Shane, when a woman's rich, she naturally picks the one she loves. Otherwise, why grind so hard? Stop embarrassing yourself. The only loser here is you. Tell you what, for old time's sake, I'll wire you something to keep noodles on your table. I pulled out my phone and wincing tapped send. As the guard shoved him onto the sidewalk, his pocket chimed. PayPal ping $1. Shane's bankruptcy arrived like a flash flood. Years of private jets and magnums of Cristal had trained him to burn cash. He couldn't slam on the brakes. After he backfilled the corporate hole, the last few million evaporated within weeks. He decided to launch another startup. After all, he'd done it once. He promised Avery the moon. Give me 3 years, babe. I'll build the next unicorn and you'll never lift a finger again. Avery beamed back. Go get him, Sterling G. I'll stick it out through the ramen days. In her head, she tallied the timeline. A short sentence of shared struggle. Then the inevitable IPO. Then Sterling with a fortress wife title no one could rip away. But castles built on if we succeed have shaky foundations. Neither dared ask what failure looked like. Shane dove into the market starting from zero. This time no engineers queued to code for him. No frat brothers queued to pitch investors. He forced himself to cold call, write decks and demo products, jobs he'd never touched. Director Wade teased me every Monday. President Vance, your ex can't hold a candle to you. When you begged us to buy in, you flooded us with dividend payouts and ironclad contracts. He sniffed. Yesterday the former CEO showed up, penniless, talked a blue streak for 30 minutes. 0 slides, wants 50 million. Dream on. I lowered my lashes, sipping my latte, a smile curling. When I had chosen Shane as co-founder, I'd taken the ugliest jobs, hauling my briefcase from fund to fund, swallowing every no until I tasted blood. Because begging teaches you where the real lovers are. I'd been terrified I'd pour my life into Vance Tech only to hand it over in a bow. Now I was gone. Could Avery play the role I'd played? I ran into Shane again 3 months later outside the Riviera. He and Avery were yanking at each other on the marble steps. A few months had aged him a decade. Eyes sunken, temples flecked with gray. He clutched the collar of her coat. I scraped together 50 grand, and you blew it in one day on spa garbage. That money was seed capital, not a platinum membership. Avery shot back. When you proposed, you swore you'd keep me like a princess. Look at me. What princess eats instant noodles in a basement? Shane, loving you is the worst luck I ever had. The scene flashed me back to that night in the VIP lounge. Shane was drunk. Scraps of his boasting to the frat brothers drifted into my ears. An accomplished man doesn't need a forceful woman. He only needs a trophy. Yet, no one ever asked, if that accomplished man goes broke, how exactly is his trophy supposed to save him? Right now, Shane was tussling with his basement-dwelling trophy, a noisy spectacle. He glanced back. The corner of his eye caught me. A spark of delight surfaced in his gaze. He rushed forward, unable to wait. Skylar, what are you doing here? Did you come for me? I know. Marrying me has always been your biggest dream. I was wrong. After everything, I finally see that the person I love most is you. So Skylar, let's start over. Okay. When he was on top of the world, he wanted a trophy. Now that he's ruined, he wants a power woman to haul him out. His love shifts with the scenery around him. The only constant is how much he loves himself. Behind me, the door of the luxury sedan swung open at the perfect moment. Chase. Shane's face changed color. I took Chase's hand and smiled, relaxed. Look at you. How could you ever measure up to my lifelong? Women don't like men who are too domineering. A trophy is much nicer. Shane's throat bobbed. He couldn't squeeze out a word. Clearly, he remembers this is exactly what he once said. The boomerang he tossed 3 years ago is now buried between his brows, leaving him no chance to parry. I lift my gaze to the Riviera's glittering sign. It's a high-end spa. Membership isn't cheap. Even if Avery dropped the entire $500,000 on a platinum spa membership, it still wouldn't buy her VIP status. I step past Shane and head straight inside. He suddenly blocks me, eyes full of hope. Skylar, if Avery had never existed, would we have made it to the altar? I lower my head and think for a second. Would we have married? Every memory of Shane flashes through my mind like a spinning lantern, frame after frame, until the picture freezes on him on one knee, proposing to Avery. Countless frat brothers cheering, streamers whirling, glitter raining, the perfect match of money and beauty, the 5-carat rock throwing shards of light that nearly blinded me. I meet his expectant stare and shake my head. No, I wanted to trade you in ages ago. I just didn't have the money to endure your rotten temper. You have no morals. Likewise, I don't need them either. Shane's expression is a kaleidoscope. Pain, grief, grievance, rage. He yells at me, why? We suffered together all those years. Did you never love me at all? His voice cracks, shrill and ragged. I dig a finger in my ear, annoyed. When a man strikes it rich, he swaps wives and never mentions morality. Why, when a woman does the same, must we stage a moral inquisition? I'm simply walking the road you planned for yourself. What? Only Shane can walk it. Skylar can't. I step past him and walk into the Riviera. Behind me, Shane is still howling. Skylar, you'll regret this. You'll sit on mountains of money and spend the rest of your life longing for me alone. Someday you'll be sorry. Today you threw away the one man who truly loved you. Such a talent for self-gilding. Avery's slaps are still clapping against his cheeks. Yet out here he's selling the devoted lover persona. As long as I have money, what pleasure can't I buy? Why would I pine for a man left with nothing? 22 Vance returned to its usual calm. No one mentions Shane anymore, as if he never existed. Winter departs. Spring arrives. A brand new year. On a free afternoon, I drive to the Riviera for a facial. Through the window, I spot Shane handing out flyers on the street. Early spring, still chilly, he's wrapped in a thin jacket, shivering, frowning as he forces thick stacks of flyers into pedestrians' hands. From what the shareholders gossip, every startup grind he's tried since has collapsed. His temperament suits lurking behind the curtain. When it comes to charging forward and charming investors, he's clueless. No new money, no place for backstage squatting. As for Avery, she kicked Shane to the curb long ago, trading up to a richer sugar daddy and making off with Shane's last few thousand. My car glides slowly past him. He recognizes the plate at a glance. Startled for a second, he chases after the window, shouting, "Skylar! Skylar!" The closed glass muffles his voice. I catch only fragments. I press the accelerator and speed away from the downtown block, leaving Shane behind, the same way I delete the long, self-pitying paragraphs he sends from endless new numbers, erasing them completely from my world. 23. Inside, the Riviera is bright and warm. I take out my phone. Blacklist the 15th new number Shane used to send a reconciliation essay, then tell the beautician to light the aromatherapy. In the quiet, I savor the bliss after a full-body massage. Chase slips in, closing the door gently. The beautician teases with a smile. President Skylar really adores Chase. She brings him every time. I curve my lips into a smile and tilt my head toward Chase. You accompany me here so often. Don't you ever get bored? Chase shakes his head quickly. How could I be bored? I wouldn't miss it for the world. After a glance to check my mood, he chooses his words carefully. Skylar, I've been feeling a little stifled lately. Why don't you hand the company affairs over to me? My expression doesn't flicker. Chase keeps explaining. I just hate seeing you work so hard. A girl tackling everything alone. Let me share the load. A woman should spend her days looking gorgeous. That's what matters. 24. I stare at him unblinking. All this time I've told the outside world I can't get over Chase. He's my lifelong crush and my one that got away. Say it often enough and even Chase believes it. But the reason I roped him in back then was that when Shane named the company, he added an N, swearing the character meant safe and sound. I knew perfectly well he was memorializing his school days. One that got away. So I stuck Chase's cult into the corporate name. At the time I couldn't even recall what Chase looked like. Chase was nothing but a shield. A counterweight to Shane's one that got away. Now the shield is sprouting ideas above its pay grade. I learned early whoever they are, love or kin. If someone claims it's for your own good while trying to pry power from your grip, they've come to harm you. A person who truly loves you will lift you up. Never clip your wings. My brain runs the numbers at light speed. Every dollar I've spent on Chase lately. Houses, designer clothes, sports cars. All logged in Venmo transfers, ready for a damages claim. Not a cent will be lost. Litigation requires a lawyer. My eyes narrow slightly. Chase, call attorney Wong. Have him come right now. The light explodes across Chase's face. You need a lawyer. Skylar, are you going to give me shares?